Greetings, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Welcome back to my Trailmaker series. Today we pick up the action here on, or rather at Port Aqualite, and we're working at trying to get the last of the power cores unlocked for this location. So, strap yourself in, grab your favourite travelling outfit, and let's get on with it. Alright, well, the missions, I'd only just realised, and I've been doing them for a long time, they're all called rescue, you know, the froggets. And, well, yeah, they inevitably do tend to need rescuing because there is always, and I mean always, an ample quantity of Botnaks that we need to take care of before we can make off with the froggets. So, yeah, anyway, we are doing our thing here. We're taking out the artillery one there, kaboom, and now we've just got a little bit of trash from these mining drones, and there we go, we're pretty much done. So yeah, this episode we're going to be doing a bit of ref grinding, at least to start, and then we should be able to move forward with some more involved parts of the storyline later in the episode. Now, we took a few hits there in our transport vehicle, but we're all good, we're all repaired up. We can go and hand in that mission. We're all done with the storyline missions for Port Aqualite, so whatever reputation that we're missing at this stage, this is the only option we've got for grinding it up. So now, this is the mission location, sort of the rescue mission location, that's the one that's the most annoying to get to. Anyway, we, in amongst all of our, you know, grinding of missions, we decided to do a bit of vehicle experimentation. Now, we did rather a lot of it in this session, so I am going to be experimenting with some extremely sped up footage. Let me know if it ends up being too fast, but long story short, I was aware that we had grenade launchers, and from yet another Scrapman video, I was aware that the grenade launchers are a little bit OP, and I just thought, you know what, I want to do a little bit of experimenting with those. So we're settling for not just one. We've got two on the front of our vehicle, and let's just say we're not afraid to use them. Now, there's a lot of frenetic clicking going on here, which you can't hear, but the problem was, and I didn't notice with these grenade launchers, that they default to the secondary fire button, which is right mouse button. And there you go, I actually worked out what was going on. But initially, look, you can change the keybind on any of these things when you're doing in your build mode, but by default, just be aware the grenade launchers default to the secondary fire. I imagine that they're probably allowing for you to have a bit of a mixed weapon loadout, so as in have you know, smart guns or something like that as a primary fire, and then have grenades as a secondary fire. I haven't sort of to date experimented with that sort of a loadout. I don't know if I ever will, but look, if I give that sort of a thing a bit of a go, I'll let you guys know how it turns out. But I am kind of loving these grenade launchers. I do like how hard they hit. The challenge, of course, is making sure that you do hit, and also dealing with the mildly lengthy reload. You can see it charges up there within a couple of seconds, but it's not as sort of instant as with some of the other weapons in terms of how often you can shoot it. You know, the shotguns you get 2 or 3 shots, and then the reload is, I won't say instant, but it feels instant. I did some experimentation with it, and I wasn't happy with how slow I was, because I'd had to sacrifice a couple of engines to have enough free power cores for that second grenade launcher, and I didn't like how slow that made me. So instead, we've gone back to a single grenade launcher, because honestly 2 of them was just hitting so hard. I thought, alright, well, clearly 1 should be enough. And so we've put the extra engines back on. We put a little shield sort of block at the back there just to help protect the engines a bit. And we're just having a little experiment here. With all of these engines, we still need to have that weight block underneath at the front, simply because it will just want to wheelie onto its back if we don't do that. And this little configuration, look, it's pretty quick. Stuff isn't really keeping up with me, you know, when I'm driving around like that. And the random shot or 2 that is connecting is mostly connecting with the shield. So this is a reasonably good setup. That said, though, the single grenade launcher isn't really hitting as hard as I'd like. So for the moment, for familiarity, I've decided to just go back to the 3 shotgun formula, simply because the volley from the 3 shotguns does pretty much always one-shot the little guys, particularly when I'm up close, whereas the grenade launcher, it fires explosives. So if I fire it at point blank range, I was actually taking splash damage. Yeah, blowing myself up is not part of my mission goal. So we're going to leave our little wheeled combat vehicle back in its shotgun configuration. Now, in the experimentation phase, we've now moved on to our aquatic vessel. And I sort of thought about, oh, do I put more smart guns on? What do I do with these extra power cores that I've got since I originally built this thing? I'm looking at it and I'm thinking, oh, maybe I just put an extra shield on the front and leave it with the 2 smart guns. So for now, that's all I'm going to do. Now, that was my little building distraction to alleviate the tedium of constantly rescuing froggets. Now that we're over with that, we're on with the whole rescuing of froggets. And whenever I drive past this place in a fresh session, there's always an artillery one here. And because of the positioning of this artillery one, this fight is always a little bit of a handful, because it's hard to get up close, certainly close enough that the shotguns can kind of do their optimum damage against the artillery pod. So for the most part, where I'd normally charge the artillery pod, I can't really do that with this. So I've got to get rid of the little fellas first, and then I've got to try and time my run in here. And you're going to see this ground is not as even as it looks. And yeah, I kind of run aground, and then because I've run aground and lost all my inertia, I don't get out of range of that knock away EMP effect, which of course takes my shield out and knocks me, you know, a long way, and I take a bunch of damage. So now I've got to slow down, and I've got to try and get up to this thing a bit quicker, a bit more slowly, only to find I had similar issues. So yeah, this one, you've got to come up here at just the right angle, otherwise you're kind of boned. But anyway, we didn't have any wheels blown off us this time, so yeah, there's a lot of smoke coming out, but that's really the only problem, and we can always repair that up. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to jump out. We're going to... yeah, welcome to the Let's Kill Rob as many times as we can with repair glitches session. That's not the only time me activating a repair has ended up killing me. Stay tuned for more of those in the future, but that was the first significant one. Now we're heading out towards the rescue spot, and we've got another artillery piece, which is fine because we've got a mission to kill these things, so we may as well knock them out as we find them. Now that one, I failed to notice that there was the sulfur looking mushroom thing there, and consequently, yeah, if I'd run into that at full speed, this fight may have run a little bit differently. Now, for some reason with my mad panic to switch vehicles there, I ended up just tapping F, which of course takes you out of your vehicle, and I don't know how I didn't die then, because the Botnaks pretty much kill you instantly if they can shoot you when you're not in a vehicle. So that was a near miss. I'm persisting with the driving around with only 3 wheels thing. But even with 3 wheels, this is a potent little sucker. Especially if I lose one of the back wheels, because of the weights under the, effectively under the axle at the front. It actually drives remarkably well with only 3 wheels. But anyway, I could say that was intentional, but it wasn't really. Anyway, so we're standing further away for any of our future repairs just to make sure I don't get flicked to the heavens. And here we are. We're back with our froggets. This is out on the beach, and we just have to reverse up to them. Now you can see we've made a few improvements to try and make this vehicle a bit faster, and the fact that it keeps wanting to do wheelies is kind of a good thing. We did away with a bit of that extra shielding we had on the back because I just wanted more speed. I wanted to go fast. But the other thing I wanted was a pulse miner on the front, and we've got the large pulse miner there, and that's enabled us to do a bunch of gathering in our, running around and doing things mode. And other things that we've enabled as a result of our running around and doing things is we've now unlocked the last of the 3 power cores for Port Aqualite. So we're basically done with Port Aqualite, and we can now move on into the swamp. And this is where we start having a very solid think about what our vehicles are going to look like moving forward. And while I've got weird wheeled vehicles and while I've got reasonably easy fights, I'm going to test out a few weapons here just to see if I can pin down what might be a good combo of weapons for our boats and our future vehicles. So we've gone with the submachine guns on the front, and now I'm just having a bit of a look at what they look like. Yeah, they're pretty good, but wow, that reload is kinda slow. It makes the grenade launchers look positively awesome. So I'm not sure if I like the submachine guns, but anyway, we did a little bit of experiments. We weren't too happy with them, and we're looking at the rep things for Derog's Pond, and at the moment it's only offering us 2 frogget transport missions, and we haven't actually got a frogget transport in the form of a boat just yet. Stay tuned for that. We will end up doing one, but for the moment we're back to experimenting with weapons, and we're going to see if we can make the machine gun thing work on a boat. Yeah, let's see how it works out here. Oh yes, and also welcome to the 7,287th attempt to get this thing to run stably at speed. Yeah, that's stay tuned for episode 10,296 of our efforts to yeah, and that's another, that wasn't even me trying to repair. I just jumped out and it flung me against the nearest tree. But luckily we just end up back at the last save point, which is settlement. But yeah, we've long story short, we've got a bucket load more. You know, this thing is not running right. We need to tune it. Now, this is way better than it has been. That said, though, it's still not perfect, and I'm going to be tweaking this one until I don't know, the heat death of at the end of the universe, I guess. We do end up making noticeable improvements. So we've gone from having 4 of the medium, flotation type barrel-y things on the side, and 2 of the big ones. We did away with the medium ones, and now we've got 4 big ones on there. Now that is helping out a lot. Not the least of which I think is because of the extra width it grants us. So now the boat doesn't want to roll, in the sort of side-to-side sense. It wants to stay a lot flatter, which is definitely a good thing, particularly where we're trying to make tight turns with any amount of velocity trying to be held. We've already uncovered a bit of a hole with this particular arrangement. You can see that the buoyancy tank has been taking damage. It's because part of it is outside the shield. So that'll be one bit of fine-tuning I need to do, is to lift the shields a bit so that they cover the side, the buoyancy tanks, because if I get those blown off, if we think it's unstable now, ooh, yeah, she gets pretty bad without some of those tanks on, that's for sure. But for the most part, with this particular improvement on there, I'm sort of happy enough. There's still some tweaking to do, but for the most part, it's quite functional. It certainly gets the job done, except when stuff knocks me over. And we do end up getting out of this fight reasonably easily, even though there is quite the handful of Botnaks here, including one with shields. And the one with shields does hit a lot harder than all these other guys. So the little trash ones, they don't hit very hard at all. And then you've got the hover tanks, they hit kinda hard. But then you've got this hover tank with a shield, and these things are freaking scary. I don't know that this one has the super heavy hitting gun on it, but it's not too much further into the swamp that we get these ones that, I don't know, maybe they've got a grenade launcher, but they fire something that's kind of explosive. Oh, there it is. No, this one definitely has that ability. We kind of repaired, and then we got, blown to hell, which means we've had to repair again. But we seem to be going all right now. We just need to not get hit by that guy, because it's tough, but it's all right. We survived. We used a repair token, but we survived, and we dispatched them reasonably efficiently. In fact, once we get rid of that guy, I think we're pretty much free and clear. So we'll call that a mildly successful test. I mean, we're aware that our shields are an issue. We're aware that every time I seem to be hitting repair, random weird stuff is happening. But we're still here and we're still getting the job done. So we're now sort of playing with a bit of a wing keel kind of setup here. More that, I don't know, I'm just trying to enhance the stability a bit, but this is definitely not doing it. I don't think it's making any difference at all. So we're going to get rid of that in a moment after this fight. But that's the sort of fine-tuning that I'm thinking, oh yeah, putting a keel on the bottom of the boat, that might help keep it more level, which means the engines stay in the water more efficiently, and we get more straight line speed. So yeah, there'll be more little tweaks like that in the future, but for now I'm kind of happy enough with where we're at. So you might say, well, you're happy with where you're at. Why did you wreck it? Well, I don't know. I was messing with it thinking that drag is part of our issue, and the leading and trailing edge of these buoyancy tanks is a significant drag point. And I thought, well, maybe, just maybe, if I can put some aerodynamics onto the front of these buoyancy tanks, I can make this thing run smoother. And it sort of does, in the sense that taking off it was good, but turning it was bad. And then I realised, well, if I've done it on the front, I need to do it on the back so that we can achieve some balance. And it's kind of working. It's something that we're going to stick with for a little bit. But when I say there's like, you know, a gazillion tuning exercises with this boat, I'm not kidding. I've lost count of how many times I've altered something about this boat. But this setup that we've got now is pretty good. How long will I keep it for? You're just going to have to wait and see. Oh, and that is a ding. We made it to level 15 and we've unlocked some new blocks. Awesome. Alright, well, you know what else is awesome? In its own way, is the end of the episode. If you've enjoyed this episode, don't forget to give me a thumbs up and to consider subscribing if you're not already subscribed. Until next time, my name is Rudimentary Rob. Thank you very much for watching, and make sure you have yourself an absolutely fantastic day.